Hey, welcome back. Today we're looking at how to find a good investment property. All right, so if you're a real estate investor or you want to be a real estate investor, one of the keys to success is finding a really good deal, to find a really good investment property. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at some different ways to do that. The commonly known ways like working with realtors, as well as some more creative ways, and what to look for to make sure that you're getting a really good property in the first place. So stay tuned. All right, so the first thing you really want to focus on is your focus. What kind of real estate investing are you doing? What kind of deals are you looking for? What constitutes a good real estate property for you? Because here's the challenge. There are so many different kinds of properties and so many different kinds of real estate investing strategies, it's easy to kind of get overwhelmed and actually have too many opportunities coming your way. I know that sounds like a good problem to have, but really it isn't. You want to get very, very focused if you really want to be successful with this. Instead of being a jack of all trades, the more specialized you are, the higher the likelihood you're going to have, especially long-term success. So first thing is, what kind of strategy you're focusing on, and really, really narrow things down around that. It's kind of like, have you ever been to a restaurant that has a huge menu that has too many options and it's just really, it takes you forever to pick one? That's kind of like the challenge some people have with real estate deals. They look at single family homes, they're looking at doing flips, but they're also looking at, okay, can I do short-term rentals? Can I do the BRRRR? Can I do long-term buy and holds? Can I do creative deals? Can I do this? And at the same time, they're trying to look at multifamily properties, and they're trying to look at self-storage facilities, and they're trying to look at commercial units. They're trying to look at all this different stuff, and it's just too much to really know what you're doing about, right? So maybe if you've got decades of experience under your belt, yeah, maybe. But even then, most of the most successful real estate entrepreneurs I know are quite focused and quite specialized. So that's my first tip for you. Focus, focus, focus. Next thing you want to do is figure out what market area do I really want to invest in? Because again, it's good to get focused on what your investment style is, your strategy is, but it's also a good idea to narrow it down to one or two or three different market areas. So for example, I know some people that are in the multifamily space and they say, hey Dave, anywhere there's a good deal, that's fine with me. Well, yes and no. It's difficult to really understand different markets in depth if you're kind of spread too thin. So the people that I know that tend to have the most success are focused narrowly on their strategy and their market. That's a big tip for you as well. In order to find the best deals, you have to have that focus on your strategy and your market. All right, the next thing we want to look at is, are you going to be looking at on-market deals and or off-market deals? So what does that mean? On-market deals are properties that are listed, for example, the MLS, they've had a realtor go in and get the property under contract and list it, and you're able to see that through the MLS or the commercial equivalent of that as well. Or are these properties that are not yet on the market? They're off-market properties that have not been listed with a realtor. So if they're listed, that's pretty straightforward. You make a good relationship with realtors in your area that specialize in the kind of properties that you're looking for and let them do their thing and bring deals to you. That's very, very passive. Now, that's really easy for you. However, there's a lot of competition when you're looking at on-market deals. In fact, quite a few times, the best on-market deals don't even make it to the listing because the realtor has pocket listings. The realtor has investors already lined up who are ready to pounce on those deals, so they don't even need to start marketing them. So again, that's the importance of having really good relationships with a couple of different realtors that focus on those strategies, right? Okay, now off-market deals, that's where I like to play because that's where you're able to deal directly with the seller. So the big advantage there is you can negotiate more, you can get better terms, better prices quite often, just a better deal overall if you're dealing directly with the seller. The challenge is finding sellers that want to do off-market deals. Most people are accustomed to just getting their property and listing it with a realtor. So you have to shake the tree, you have to do outbound marketing quite often, you have to drive for dollars, you have to go searching these neighborhoods to find your ideal kind of property. If you're getting into the multifamily space, a really good idea is to get to know your area that you want to focus on really well. Pick out the buildings that you would like to buy. If you could wave the magic wand, that building would magically appear for sale. You'd like to buy that one. And then proactively go after the owners of those properties. Get in touch with them, see if they're interested in selling, and then keep in touch. Because if they say no today, if you keep persistent about it without being a pain in the butt, down the road when time and circumstances change for them, you'll be the first person that you think of. So make sure that you've got your outbound marketing going as well as you can. Here's a big tip. One of the things that I did back in the day when I was doing my 18 deals in 18 months, focusing 100% on off-market properties, one of the easiest, cheapest, and fastest marketing methods I had was vehicle signage. At that time, I had an old purple minivan, Dodge Caravan, and I had it all deckled up with "I buy houses." Any condition, any area, any price. I had that up there with my phone number, and I think I had a website back then. And that actually generated a lot of leads, and I can remember 3 of those 18 deals came directly from the vehicle signage. So that's pretty good return on investment. It only cost me a couple of $100 to put that signage on my vehicle. It turned my car into a rolling billboard. I loved it. My ex-wife hated it, but it was very, very effective. So if you want some cheap marketing, get your own vehicle signage. All right, so let's say you've got all that kind of stuff dialed in and you found a property that looks good. You really want to dive in and make sure that the property is the right property for you. You want to do your due diligence. You want to get your inspections done. You want to make sure that it's a really good fit for whatever your end plan is, whatever that is. If you're planning to do a flip on that property, it's got to fit the loan to value ratio. It's got to fit the ARV so that you could make enough money to make it worthwhile. If you're going to be turning that into a BRRRR, you got to make sure that you can do enough renovations on that it increases the value enough to get your money out as quickly as possible, and it's going to be cash flow positive. If you're going to turn it into an Airbnb, a short-term rental, same idea. You got to make sure that it fits the criteria, that's legal and allowed in that area, that you won't have a lot of hassles with neighbors about that you can get it rented out at top dollar and keep it full on a consistent basis. So you want to make sure that the property fits your criteria and do the proper due diligence. Don't cheap out on property inspections. Make sure you get an inspection done. Make sure you get all your details, all your ducks in a row before you press go. Now, the other thing you want to take a look at is what is the neighborhood like that's around the property, right? You've all heard the expression location, location, location. And it's not just about having a nice property that kind of fits your criteria. It's making sure that the neighborhood itself fits your criteria. Because a big mistake I've seen people make a few times is buying a really nice property in a really crappy neighborhood, right? So if you're trying to get short-term rentals and get a top dollar for your short-term rental, but your property's in the hood, really doesn't matter how nice it is if people can't leave the property safely, if they feel insecure walking around the place at night. If you're trying to get families as your tenants in the property, you want to make sure you've got amenities, you've got schools and things like that, and playgrounds that are in close distance. If you want to get top dollar and have families in there, you want to make sure that there's easy access to public transportation and the metro and light transportation, that sort of thing, that they can get to and from work easily. So you want to make sure that the neighborhood fits your criteria as well, not just the property. All right, and in addition to really checking out the property itself physically and the neighborhood physically, you want to make sure that there aren't any unpleasant surprises around ownership or the title of the property. So you want to make sure that you do proper due diligence and you understand exactly what's going on with the property itself. A good lawyer or a notary can help you out with that. You can do a lot of this stuff on your own with your own efforts, but make sure that you understand what are the rules and regulations around the property, what are the liens or encumbrances that might be on that property, what might get in the way of you actually being able to purchase it or get clear title. So make sure you get that dialed in as well. And then last but not least, when it comes to finding good investment properties, it's also about coming up with the cash to buy these properties. So chances are you're going to get financing with a traditional lender or perhaps with a private lender, but chances are you need to come up with some money to do that. So sooner or later, you're going to hit the wall. You're going to run out of cash and credit to do these deals on your own. You're going to have to bring in outside partners. You're going to have to bring in joint venture partners or private lenders. So that is the number one way to scale your real estate investing business and be able to find a lot more good properties and actually close on them, is if you know that you've got the capital to back you up. So here's one of my big recommendations. A lot of gurus out there say, hey, just find a good deal and the money will find you. And I say baloney. That's not the way it works. Maybe it works for the gurus because they've already got a gazillion contacts, a gazillion connections. They can just put it out to everybody. But it's a recipe for disaster for you and I as a mom and pop real estate investor to wait until we got a deal and then chase after the money. Because it doesn't really matter how good the deal is. If people sense that you're desperate, that you need the money, that's going to turn them off a little bit. That's going to make it really difficult to raise capital. So here's my philosophy. When it comes to the chicken and the egg, which comes first, the money or the deal? Get the money lined up first. Get the investors lined up first, and then go look for those good deals, right? It makes it so much easier. You can go in, you can negotiate with confidence because you know that you've got the capital lined up. So get your investors lined up first. They don't have to give you all the cash up front, but get at least expressions of interest signed off on so that you know that you've got the capital when you need it. All right, speaking of investors and joint venture partners, if you're looking for some, I've got the solution for you. It's my book, Money Partner Formula. You can get a free copy at investorattractionbook.com or click on the link that's in the description below, and this will walk you through my entire process. It's a 5-step process of attracting your ideal investors, your ideal joint venture partners, raising private capital so you can do as many great deals as you want to. Get your copy today.